Yeah. Oh no. We most certainly can.
This is Let's Have a Real Conversation with your hosts, Dashing D
and JD. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, and don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and catch us every 2 weeks.
That's right.
Everywhere you get your podcasts.
That's right. And if you're watching, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes.
And if you really fuck with us, maybe send it to a person. Just one.
Share it, please.
Just one person.
Just share it to
not your whole group chat.
Each one. Just one. No, if you have a group chat, send it to the group chat.
Oh, see, I was...
Kill 5 birds, 6 birds, 7. Maybe you have 8 people in your group chat. And
8 people?
With one stop. Some people have really large friend groups. My group chats, first of all, my group chats are in clusters.
Yeah, some people have multiple group chats.
I have multiple group chats, and they max out at about 4 people. They don't go any higher than that.
You said 8. I was damn. So I'm like, are they organizing an event?
I know a lot of people do have like these huge friend groups that they. I was in a group chat that was pretty large.
You left or you got kicked out?
I mean, because it was so many people, no one interacted in a group chat and it no longer exists. I think it just faded into oblivion. It was like after an event and I think everybody got excited and was like, hey, we're going to get in this group chat together. And then it was like, this is way too many people to keep track of. It was on WhatsApp, so I guess that made it a little bit easier. But I also don't want to do group chats. Were there people out the country? WhatsApp. No, I think it was because some were iPhone users and some were Android users, and in order to send photos and things like that, it was just easier to send on WhatsApp.
That would be the place to do it. Although this is not a WhatsApp ad.
No. Please.
But it could be.
Facebook? Oh, excuse me, Meta? Call us.
I mean, they got our numbers.
They know exactly
they got
where
everything.
We live.
Everything.
They know
the exact location we pod.
They know where we work. They're currently looking at our IP address.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Watching through this camera.
They've got all of it. They know how much we make. They know every single thing. And they're selling it to the government, by the way.
No, they're selling it to everybody. Fuck the government. Let's have a real conversation.
You're right.
It's like, who's buying the data this year? Who's got the
highest bidder?
The contract ended?
The highest bidder?
Oh, we're going to have a data breach. Sorry, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Let's have a real conversation.
Now that's the real conversation.
That's not what we're here for.
But we're not here for that.
But
it's not.
We should get into it.
Yes.
All right.
So what are we starting with?
We're going to start with, I think we should we go light to dark or dark to light?
As long as it's not dark MAGA, I'm cool either way.
No, pick one. Light or dark? How are we starting?
Dark.
Okay, let's start dark. Okay. Let me get comfortable. Alrighty. Young Thug and Gunna.
Oh shit! All right.
That's the darkest we have.
I didn't know. All right.
We don't have a whole lot of topics this week, but that is the darkest one of the few.
All right. Should we play the clip from the DA?
Yeah.
You got it, or should I pull it up?
Pull it up, and I will try to give some clarity to what we're talking about. So if you have not heard,
which you should have
by now, it's been over a week at this point, at the time of recording this, and Young Thug and Gunna have been arrested on RICO charges, RICO violations. RICO is the racketeering. Ooh, I knew I was going to mess that up. And you know what? If you ask me off the pod, I'll know exactly what it means. The Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act, which was instituted to indict groups of people, specifically the mafia, in the past, and it still does. But it also they also use it to charge gangs
and groups.
So that just groups of people that are conspiring to commit crimes together. So
gang. You ain't got to repeat it. It's all right.
I wasn't going to.
Don't worry.
No, because they will not come get us. Okay, neither of them, the cops or
Meta already gave them our data,
or the gangs will not. Okay, so apparently, Young Thug is the leader of the Young Slime Life crew / gang. We're not sure. Fulton County is saying that it's a gang.
Yep.
They are saying there's lots of criminal activity to prove that it's a gang. They are saying that there have been threats on people's lives. There have also been actual murders. And
attempts.
Yes. And the selling of drugs and
possession and intent to sell.
All right, that's why you're here, because you got the, I bring it to the people and you put a little sauce on it. You put you give it a little salt bay, just a little, or does he?
I don't know.
Something like that. Anyway,
I remember the GIF was like.
Yeah, it's something like this.
I don't know.
Yeah. So.
They're gonna fuck us up for making that. For making that salt bay shit.
So. This is what they're alleging. Young Thug, they were able to pick up at his home and raid his home. So not only did he get charged with what the 28 people were charged with, he had additional charges added on once they went through his home and found weapons and things like that.
Yeah.
They are claiming that he is the leader of this group / gang. Gunna is also involved. He's among the 28 people that are being charged. Gunna actually turned himself in after a couple of days. They were looking for him, and he finally turned himself in. They have tried to get Young Thug out of jail, and they're saying he's a flight risk, so he wasn't granted bail. What, did I miss something?
No, you're killing it. I'm just waiting. I have mad stuff to say, but I was waiting.
Okay.
I didn't want to cut you off.
And then one of the things that I think is really important to note is that one of the ways that they're saying that they're using, which we will really get into, one of the ways that they're saying they have evidence is through music that was actually created. Oh, and I should point out another thing that is of note is rapper YFN Lucci is named in the Young Thug charge because he's been in jail now, the same jail that they're all in. He's been in jail for a while. I want to say 6 months to a year at least, on a murder charge. And he is claiming, or his people are claiming, that this other gang, because he's in one too, is the YFN is a... Listen, I'm like 65 in music years. I don't know what is going on with the young folks. I really do not know. I don't know. My birthday is coming up. It's going to be another year added on to that. I can't keep track of the names and the Lils and the this and the that. I'm trying here, guys. But he is a part of another gang. Apparently, YFN Lucci and Young Thug have had a long-standing beef. There's been alleged threats on everyone's lives, it seems. And they're alleging that his camp, Young Thug's camp, has tried to kill YFN Lucci while he's in jail under the care of Fulton County. So I think that's it for my overview. I know it was a little long-winded and I rambled a little bit, but
you killed it.
That
was a quick, accurate summary from what I understand.
Okay. All right.
The DA?
The DA.
Play it for the DA and the motherfucking jury.
Let me get some of my spa water.
That's from a Boondocks episode.
Really?
They're making fun of gangster rappers.
Oh,
and
perfect.
lyrics being played in court.
That's a perfect...
And he says in the song, they played the song, I think it's called Play It for the Jury or Play It for the Judge. And now as evidence, play it for the judge. Play it for the judge and the jury and the DA.
The judge allowed Gangstalicious's music to be introduced as evidence at his assault trial. They played for the jury a track called Play It for the Jury.
Play it for the jury, the defendant and the plaintiff, the court reporter and the plaintiff. Play it for the jury, the defendant.
You have to put that in. You have to put that in the video, but you also you should do a side by side and mute them, and then you do the song.
shit is funny as hell. All right, here is the DA. So y'all know we're laughing because I tried to play the clip from the DA off of YouTube, and immediately an ad came up from a company that we don't have anything to do.
We don't have anything to do with them.
Oh man, sorry, we poor folks over here. I ain't got YouTube Premium. You know what I'm saying?
No.
But if y'all want to hook us up with YouTube Premium, you know, you can.
Hook us
You can.
up.
You
Hook
can.
us up.
There's comment sections. You know.
I can read ads.
Comment sections.
read.
They're here.
I'm actually good at reading.
You know what I'm saying?
If you need me to read an ad, you know, if you want to send us some products and then we, you know, advertise them right here on this here podcast, let's have a real conversation. Let's have a real conversation about that. Okay, I'm done trying to sell us now. You know, I got to do it once. Once a pod.
I was letting you get your
know,
shit off.
listen,
I didn't even want to, you know.
I don't know who's watching.
You never know.
You never know.
All right. The Fulton DA.
In a recent interview, you said in the coming weeks and months to expect indictments, RICO charges, gang charges. We see that with Bieber. This is only focused on the YSL gang. At that time, you used plural indictments. Should we expect more indictments against singular gangs in the coming weeks and months? Is that what you were meaning with that quote?
Yeah, and if you're already aware, we dropped an indictment not that long ago against YFN. It is certainly a tool that I believe in, which is using RICO. I believe, the reason that I believe in it as a tool is it allows juries and the communities to see the complete picture of a crime so they can truly be educated and have facts to weigh when they're making decisions. And so if you're asking, should you expect to see other RICO indictments against other street gang organizations? Absolutely.
And there it is. I mean, there's a whole 3-minute clip, but that's too much.
Yeah, it was pretty long. I didn't watch the whole thing. What I will say, who we will promote though, is Bruce Rivers. That's his name, right? It's not an ad, but I think this is helpful to people if they're interested in.
The guy you showed me?
Yeah, I think it's Bruce Rivers.
Actually, when you look up Young Thug Rico, he pops right up. He's look right here. Yeah. CLR Bruce Rivers.
So Bruce Rivers is a criminal lawyer who teams up with his son to create these YouTube videos, and he basically reacts to these different charges that come up against rappers specifically. That seems to be like his niche. And so he's actually really good at explaining what's happening, the ins and outs of the indictments and all of that. So if you're interested, you should check him out on YouTube. He also, like, his whole thing is stop self-snitching because he feels like the rappers selling themselves. Especially
and
they do. And we're going to talk about that.
That's a perfect segue.
Yeah. And
so in the clip, you can hear the prosecutor, the DA, saying that they are using the RICO because it allows, quote, the jury to see and the community to see the full picture. And so what they're saying is that they are grouping together the gangs and the cliques, and they want to make sure that the public understands that this group is working in cohesion to commit various crimes. Yeah. This is what she's saying, not what we are saying. No. And so she said that apparently there was, I didn't know that part, but she said there was already a RICO filed against the YFN gang, which is where YFN Lucci is from. And now they're going after YSL. And so Young Thug is allegedly the leader of this, as Dee has stated. Gunna has been swept up in this as well. Some of the charges as far as drug possession and intent to distribute are marijuana, which is really weird, but that's part of it. And the part that we're probably going to focus on is, as Dee said, lyrics. And so lyrics are being used because there are threats in the lyrics, and there are lyrics that reference crimes. And so this is a thing that we have seen before in hip hop, and this is something that they are using in this RICO case as well. There was something else you said that I wanted to respond to. Oh, so yes, Young Thug's attorneys attempted to get him out of jail. They said that the conditions in the jail were terrible and inhumane. I am paraphrasing. That's not a quote. And the DA and the people from the jail responded and said, no, it's regular, and that's how everyone in the jail is treated.
Right.
So sit down and chill out.
And I think the perspective that they're taking, I'm not agreeing, but the perspective that they're taking is, if you can kill people, you can deal with these conditions.
Right. And so
you can do with that with what you will.
Yeah. And so we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much we'll report on it.
Right.
But a RICO case is really interesting because, as Dee said, it takes a group of people and lumps up the charges. And what happens is, and the DA, not the DA, what's his name? David what?
Bruce Rivers. David who?
David Banner?
David Banner. Listen.
You
wanna? I told you I'm 65 in music years, okay?
As Bruce Rivers breaks down, RICO cases are often used to group together large amounts of people,
Mm-hmm.
and the idea is that the people in the lower levels and the mid levels will suffer because they can't afford bail, they can't afford the big attorneys, and they can't really fight off the big RICO case.
They want them to flip on the people at the top, basically.
Right.
So the whole, all the dominoes come tumbling down. That's essentially the idea behind it. And something to note, because I know that there's a lot of, we could talk about this too. There were some people who came out, some people we know, who came out and said, "Oh no, they're just trying to get these groups out of here. They're not a gang." Metro Boomin came out and very explicitly said, "This is not a gang. YSL is not a gang. It is an LLC, and they help people and they help the community." And those things might be true, but they could also be doing the things that, two things can be true at the same time, is what I always like to say. The thing about it is that I think maybe Metro Boomin needed to kind of sit down for a moment and think about is that when people get brought up on RICO charges, it takes a really, 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 really long time to bring people up on RICO charges. This means that they have been under surveillance for a really long time.
Yeah.
Whether it be them listening to phone calls, whether them sending people in undercover, whatever it is, they didn't just walk into the precinct on that day and say, you know what, we're gonna bring, like, I saw something strange today with these people and we're gonna bring them up on charges. They do a lot. They do a thorough investigation, and they have evidence by the time they start charging people with RICO violations. That's why they're able to go in and raid and pick up that many people at a time.
Yeah. If I'm correct, and I could be wrong, but I believe they said that this RICO started in 2012.
Yeah, I think they did. I think you're right about that. Somewhere, and if not that year, somewhere around there. So that's 10 years in the making.
That's a lot of I Spy.
That's a lot of, and the idea is, yeah, you might make sure that all your ducks in a row, but over that amount of time, somebody's gonna fuck up.
Yeah. And
it just takes one person to fuck up and say something wrong under surveillance or whatever for it to be a huge case like this. So the question that I have for you is, all these things considered, we don't know anything about this stuff. We're not involved. This is all alleged. But what we can talk about is, should music lyrics, because we're seeing this happen now more frequently than not.
Right.
They are not the only people, like you said, to have this happen and have their lyrics used as evidence.
That's what I wanted to pull up.
Should lyrics be used to charge people, to try people? Should it be used in a case as evidence? How do you feel about that?
1 second. Because one of the things that you said is what I wanted to pull up. Okay, so in 2018, there was a rapper in Florida named, not Whistle. His name is YNW Melly, and he was arrested for allegedly killing 2 of his friends. In court, they read lyrics from a song he wrote called "Murder on My Mind," and they used that as evidence. In the song, he says, this is an interview. All right. Okay, "Murder on My Mind," he tells a first-person story of accidentally killing a friend. Melly released "Murder on My Mind" on his YouTube channel in March of 2017, and it became very popular. It had 88 million views at the time of the article I'm reading. And then in 2018, when the trial started, they read part of it. Part of the lyrics. Well, it doesn't say which ones they read in court.
Okay.
It just says that they read some of his lyrics in court.
Mm-hmm.
Melly believes it was the reading of the lyrics that sent him back to jail. And so...
Here's the thing. Or do you have something to say about that? Can I jump in? I have never killed anyone. Let me just start by saying that, just so we're clear. If I was going to commit a crime, I don't do that. But if I was going to commit a crime, why would I do the crime and then go write about it and then share it with the public? Why would I have a significant following? Even if I didn't have a significant following, because one person hearing it makes it relevant. Why? Why? Because there's 2 parts to this. One part is, should it be used? And the other part is, why the fuck are you doing this? Why would you put yourself in this position? That's how I feel about it.
Right.
Why? What is that about?
Well, there's a lot to talk about. One of the things that article says is that in 1980, when Snoop was on trial, they also played Snoop's lyrics. They played "Murder Was the Case," 187, and "Body Bag" when Snoop was on trial for murder.
Mm-hmm.
And there were songs also played when Boosie was on trial in 2003. And so lyrics being used is not new, but it is fucked up. And yeah, it's a 2-sided coin, right? So if music is art, and if music is based on, if music is subjective and music is art, then it becomes tricky, because it's like saying you're gonna arrest someone for creating a murder movie and use the evidence from use the things that happen in the murder movie as evidence. And I know it's not 100% identical.
It isn't, because if it's only the same if I murder someone and then I make a movie about murdering someone and I mimic the murder in the movie. Then that would be the same thing, because what they're doing is not just creating art about something that they may have seen or whatever. They're talking about things they did. Allegedly. I mean, if there's evidence to support it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Beyond the lyrics.
That's where it's tricky, because if I say, I'm not going to say anything. If I make up lyrics, if I make up a song and say, hey, I did these things, because of the fact that you have a small amount of evidence pointing to me, once you add the lyrics, it changes the game. Mm-hmm. So if they say, oh, JD killed someone, and I have a song saying I killed someone, they don't need as much evidence, because it becomes more about the perception of the jurors, because they're going to play a piece of your song. They're not going to play the whole song. The whole thing. They're not going to, they're going to play the one part that seems to go with whatever piece of evidence they have. Mm-hmm. So if I say, oh, sky blue pistol, and the gun has a shade of blue to it that they just happen to find. It's like, see, look, he was rapping about the gun. Here's the gun. Look at the gun. Listen to the line. And so that gets tricky. But should you be rapping about the crimes you commit? Probably not. But that is where it gets tricky right now in hip hop. Things have kind of changed. When we were younger, long time ago.
I'm 65.
Long time ago.
When hip hop was first born.
All right, maybe not that long ago.
Yeah, we're not that old.
I wasn't around, but
Literally the same age. I wasn't around either. I don't want people to think that I mean, if I was 65, I'm a good looking 65. So
That's
it doesn't
true.
even matter. I mean, it's fine. You don't have to think that.
When we were younger, a lot of the stuff that was happening in lyrics were saying things from the past. It was saying, years ago I did this, or I used to do this.
Before I got out of the life, this happened.
Or even the big hit record from Jay-Z and Alicia Keys a couple years ago, the now New York anthem.
Mm-hmm.
He says where he used to get his packages, drugs, etc. Gives the address and all of that.
Right.
But it becomes a little tricky now because when you fast forward to now, people are committing crimes or saying they committed crimes because we don't know them all to be facts.
Right.
But they're saying, I smacked in the middle of recording. And then that is there.
That would be the end of the let's have a real conversation.
That would be the real conversation. The real conversation is you smacked me and it's over.
It's done.
But if I put that in a song, now they have this and it gets tricky. And so there have been numerous incidents where rappers in the last couple of years have been doing this. And so whether it's true or not remains to be seen. In some cases, it is clearly true. In other cases, it's unknown. But if they're building a case against you and you're making these lyrics and you're making these songs, putting these lyrics in songs, it creates a very, very, very tricky situation. Mm-hmm. And obviously you don't know a RICO case is being built against you for 10 years.
No.
But I think...
Right, that's what I'm waiting on. What do you think?
I think part of the problem is 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I think when we were younger, and this is my opinion, this is not a fact.
Right.
To be clear, because the internet loves to do that and act like you said one thing and then another. Right. And so this is my opinion. I think when we were younger, people were saying, I used to do this when I sold drugs. I used to do this when I got into beef. And even when they speak about crimes they committed, they were years ago. Or at least they made it sound like years ago. They didn't say like smacked you in the mouth and then came to this studio and recorded this song
on October 21st, 2021. Like that, because that's how specific that. Obviously, that's not a song lyric, but that's how specific.
Yeah, they tell you what people were wearing. And who was with them, you know.
And we
was with me when we stomped him out.
We should note that the statute of limitations on there is no statute of limitations on murder.
Not on murder.
Not on murder, on other crimes. And so you could argue that maybe in the past, the reason why and honestly, some crimes, listen, law enforcement is not looking to get everybody and get every single crime.
No.
Make no mistake about that. They're looking for the big fish. And so if they feel like what you did was insignificant or you can't get them to the big fish, they'll ignore it and they'll act like they didn't hear about it, see it, or whatever, unless there's something blaringly obvious and in their face that they have to do something about it. But they're not going after people who commit petty crimes, or they're not going after people who maybe committed a robbery 10 years ago and rapped about it in a song today. They're not really looking for those people. They're looking for the big fish. They're looking for things that are happening now. I think the issue with Atlanta and what the DA tried to say is that they have a problem right now with violence in Atlanta proper and in what's the word I'm trying to think of? Doesn't matter. But they're having that issue. There's been a lot of people have said that going to Atlanta these days is like going to the Wild Wild West. And so they are trying to clean up crime.
Right.
So they're going to go after the big groups because they figure if they could sweep up 30 people at one time, they're minimizing the damage to the city.
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind. And I think that it also depends on the crime. I think that if they know that people are attempting murder and actually going through with murder, then hell yeah, they're going to go after them, whether it's today or it's 2 years from now or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, because that's something that you could charge at any time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I was saying, I think the problem is that they have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, because it seems like, and I could be wrong, this is my opinion, I don't have any evidence to back this up, this is just my thought. I think when Jay-Z and Nas and Snoop and all these cats were saying these things they did in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, I think a lot of people were saying things they used to do. Where I think, once again, these are my thoughts, I think that the people now are doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing while still doing those type of crimes while they're in the limelight. And so it's a different story when you say, oh, I did that 10 years ago.
Right.
As to when you say, oh, we did it yesterday, I catch steak. It's like, oh, well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like if you say you smacked somebody at Dunkin' Donuts yesterday, and then before we can report it, you made the song and put it out and made it a hot song.
I would love a
And
filet
now-
mignon right now, by the way. You said catch steak. And
It's all good. And
delicious
so,
with
you
some-
know, if
with
the hit
some
single is,
peppercorn sauce on it, just
you know,
delicious. Maybe some mac and cheese, some lobster mac and cheese, and some
there you
mashed
go.
potatoes. I'm sorry. Hungry. That's all.
I was gonna ask.
Okay.
And so, yeah, you know, if you say like left his face in the mac and cheese, and you know everybody in the streets is blasting your song, left his face in the mac and cheese, it's gonna be a little harder for you because player, you just put it all out there. And so I think that's one of the issues with this current type of music. I don't even want to say genre or subgenre, because a lot of people want to point to drill music, and it's not just drill music. I understand that aggressive lyrics are a thing, but they've been a thing in hip hop for a very long time. I think what makes it challenging is that, like I said, you put these lyrics in your songs from current events. And so if you're saying you did something very recently and you're in the limelight, it makes you a bigger target. And I think that is part of what this is.
I mean, for me, it's dumb. It's dumb. Maybe that's a really simple way to say it. Maybe I sound like a simpleton. I don't know. But it's just dumb. Why tell on yourself? Why tell on yourself? You could write songs about anything. You want to write songs about your life. You want to keep a diary.
Okay, but
there
are people who want to hear. Okay, so there is a thing in our culture where you like someone more because what they say seems believable. If someone like Childish Gambino makes a gangster rap album, you're probably not going to believe it. In fact, you'll probably hear it and say, Childish Gambino, stop.
If anything, we would think it was a parody.
Right. And so, but if you see someone who looks the part, acts the part, then you find out he's got street credibility. Now it's like, oh shit, this really did happen. Whoa, Styles P, 50 Cent, Pusha T, all these dudes. That's like, whoa, these are street dudes. They have street credibility.
Right.
It makes it more. It just adds more excitement to the music.
Listen, I love a good lyric that has nothing to do with things that I do. That's probably the best way to say it. I love that just as much.
What's the 2 Chainz shit? Pretty Girls Love Trap Music. That's him.
Pretty Girls Love Trap, yes. And then Ariana Grande tried to.
She's not part of our culture.
That's the point.
Oh, what she tried to do?
She tried to basically steal his whole rollout. I'll show you after the pod, but yeah, she tried to hijack his trap rollout, and it was gross. And then the way she cleaned it up was by putting him on her remix. Yeah. Anyway,
Don't put me on your remix.
Right, but you know what? He's 2 Chainz and he's smart.
He
And
did
so
it
he was
anyway.
like, I'm gonna do this shit.
Yeah.
Little white girl want to steal my shit, and put me on your song so I can make money off of your huge pop audience. Of course.
Absolutely.
Listen, a smart man.
A genius.
So
No, too early. I'll save it.
So I just think it's dumb. I understand the entertainment of it all. I understand
The added layer of appeal.
the added layer of appeal, but I think sometimes it seems more like grandstanding
Yeah.
than
Okay.
anything else. And if
Okay.
you want to grandstand,
But that's part of hip hop, no?
it's a part of hip hop, yes, but you can't have it both ways. You can't tell on yourself and then get mad when you get caught.
Okay.
You want a grandstand, you want people to know you did it. Well, then if the police come knocking on your door and say, "Hey, we're arresting you for murder," you could have just left the body where it was.
But if you can tell me you've got $100,000 car that you just pulled out the lot, is that not also grandstanding?
Absolutely is.
That's what I'm saying. So isn't it just grandstanding is part of hip hop?
But
And don't we like hearing people that can really talk that shit?
we're talking about 2 very different things, though. There's one thing to say, I
I'm
have
saying
a whole lot
I
of
think it's a
money.
component of hip hop.
I got bags of money, and there's another thing to say, hey, I killed someone, which I did not do. But it's a very different
I
thing.
kind of want to argue, but go ahead.
So argue.
If Rick Ross
This
could
is a
say,
podcast.
if Rick Ross could say, I have all the money in the world, and not have all the money in the world,
That's my shit, by the way.
That's why I mentioned it.
I love me some Rick Ross.
if Rick Ross could say, I have all the money in the
I
world,
could hear it playing in my head.
and not have all the money in the world, can't I say I smacked the shit out of a bitch ass nigga in Dunkin' Donuts?
It's very different from saying you murdered someone or you're going to murder someone. Let's stop acting like murder is the same as everything else.
But Rick Ross talks about murder.
Sure. And if Rick Ross gets brought up on charges because he spoke about murder in his music, then that would be on Rick Ross. I'm not going to defend somebody who comes out publicly and says they killed someone and they get mad because they got caught.
Yo,
I'm not saying that I don't enjoy music, and I'm not saying that I don't enjoy certain lyrics and things like that, but that's not on me. That's not on me. I didn't make them do whatever they did. I didn't make them tell me. That's on them.
all right, 2 things. One, just to be clear, I don't think lyrics should be played in court.
Okay, I think we got that.
I just want to be clear because I realized I never said yes or no. 2,
I don't think I answered that either.
no, we didn't ask you yet, but we'll get there.
Oh,
Because
wow.
you've been jumping in, so
Okay,
I
I'm
mean, I
sorry.
couldn't say what
I've
do you
been
think because
interrupting.
you've been.
I mean, I have.
This is
you know,
this cut niggas off pod. So,
I'm sorry.
I'm not
that.
offended. It's all good.
I didn't mean to.
let's do it.
I didn't mean to
I
hijack
cut people
the
off
conversation.
all the time, so
You
I'm
do,
not mad
which
at
is
all.
why I didn't think it was.
Nah,
I
it's
thought
all
we were
good.
just, vibing.
Vibes, all vibes.
You know?
But
Mhm.
remember when Rick Ross fucked up selling drugs from the iPhone?
No.
Speaking of Rick Ross, he said he uses his iPhone as a scale to weigh the drugs.
Oh.
Fucked it up for a lot of niggas, I heard.
But that's what I'm saying. He shouldn't have done that.
That's
He
why.
shouldn't have done that. So if he shouldn't have done that, then we can't be out here defending the murderers. I don't understand.
I'm not saying that they should be able to say murderous things.
First of all, they shouldn't be
I'm
murdering
only
people.
speaking
That's where it
about-
starts. Okay?
I'm not saying people should commit murder.
I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm just telling you this is
All
why
right.
this
Do
is
you
why I have
listen to
such a heart.
187? Come on. Do you listen to 187?
Why is this relevant?
It is very relevant. They played it at Snoop's trial.
I mean, not recently, no. Have I? Sure, yes.
What's 187 about?
Murder?
Murder, very specific murder.
Mm-hmm.
So Snoop never should have made that song?
Listen, I'm not saying they shouldn't make their music. What I'm saying is, when they get caught, They shouldn't be confused about why they got caught. Oh my gosh. And people like Metro Boomin shouldn't be coming out and saying, oh no, this is just a business and they help the community. Really? Is that all they do? Is help the community?
Maybe that's all he's witnessed. I'm shooting him bail.
Honestly, I think that was a bad look for Metro Boomin to come out and speak on shit that didn't have anything to do with him. But maybe it does have something to do with him. Who knows? Allegedly. Because I don't want to get sued.
I don't want any parts of that.
I don't want to get sued, but I just didn't. He took a very bold Should we bring up what he said? I'm pretty sure I saved it.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure I saved it, or we don't have to bring it up. We don't have to say it. It just.
You feel very adamantly because this is the second time you bring it up.
It just blew my mind because I was like, yo, they didn't get brought up on like, oh man, y'all committed a robbery. Come down to the precinct and talk about.
Yeah, but weed and lyrics though.
Yeah, I don't think the weed is the big part here. I think
no, but the idea is that it's all a piece of the puzzle.
It's all a piece, yes, but that's because they're like, oh, we got these big charges, throw in the little charges too. I'm not saying, and let me be clear about something. I'm not saying that I agree with the way law enforcement works. I'm not saying I agree with the way they operate and the way they do things and the way that, yes, do they target certain types of people? Absolutely. We know this. That's not news.
No.
So I am not on the side of law enforcement here, and I want to make that very, very clear. I know one nice cop. That's it. I don't fuck with any of the other ones. Okay? So I want to be clear, I am not on the side of law enforcement. I am on the side of Dashing D. I don't have anything to do with what those people are doing over there. All I'm saying is I don't understand how you could think that you could say whatever the fuck you want to say and there be no consequences. No one's paying attention. You want people to pay attention. This is what I'm talking about. I think that back in the day, I think that older rappers were less concerned about people about saying, look at me, and more concerned about making music about their lives and their experiences.
Oh, this is their lives and their experiences.
No, I know. But I feel like what's happening today is, look at me, look at what I did, because I'm hard, and I'm a thug.
Young thug.
Well, I didn't say that. But I'm a thug and I do bad shit and I don't get caught. And look at me. I think that's what's happening today. And I think that's the big difference. They want people to know they did this shit.
Yeah.
They want people to know. Well, then you can't want people to know you did this shit and then be confused when the cops come knocking at your door. That's all I'm saying.
It would behoove them to stop committing crimes.
Yeah, that would be
a wise decision.
That would be a wise decision. But I'm going to tell y'all what Metro Boomin said because I was like, oh. So Metro Boomin says, using song lyrics to indict niggas is lame as fuck and a joke. Which we can argue either side. These the same lyrics that have made billions for these corporations over the past decade. I'm waiting now to see who's going to step up and use those same resources now that the coin has turned. Let me tell you something, Metro Boomin.
Oh, that was right.
Sure. But the moment you start saying gang, gang, and murder, where the corporations at?
But no. The corporations are the labels, Target, Nautica, all these different companies that the record labels have deals with. For example, when I don't want to be snitching. So there are certain artists that have come out and clearly signed 360 deals. A 360 deal, the label pours completely into you. They give all the resources, all the connections, and the idea is you blow up and become a star. So you're in Target commercials. You have deals with Sprite. There was a rapper who had a major position at Nautica. Sprite has things with hip hop artists all the time. there are certain connections and relationships that are used for new acts and for acts that the label feels they can make marketable and profitable. And that is what he's saying. So yes, as the artist, as artist A, you're in the Target commercial, you're in the Sprite commercial. Yeah, you make a piece of change, but the label and Target and Sprite make way more money. Those are the corporations in which he's referring to.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is he's asking who's gonna step up now. No, 28 people just got indicted on RICO charges. Nobody's stepping up now. Like, that's something that they have to realize, is that these people will drop you in a hot second. They don't care. They don't give a fuck about you. They give a fuck about the money. And if you're in jail and can't make them any money anymore.
Nah, it's better for them when you're in jail because you still make money, but now they get more of the money.
I guess so.
But that's what he's saying, the same thing you're saying. He's saying they're not going to step up. Why? Right. He's saying, where are y'all? He knows that's the answer.
I agree with him. I agree with him on that. I just think it was interesting that he came. I'm not done. Or y'all just gonna turn the other way and leave niggas how Interscope did Pac in 95.
Yes, they will.
YSL is not a gang and never have been a gang, fool. YSL is a registered LLC and has provided countless jobs and opportunities for underprivileged Black people, and really just all people, because that's how big Thug Heart is. I've seen firsthand, I think he meant firsthand, thousands of Black people and their families' lives changed for the better over the past 10 years, and now they're trying to cut the head off the snake because they see how much bigger it gets every year. They get terrified every time an iconic Black leader emerges with so much influence, respect, power, and appeal, so they throw some bullshit charges together to lock him up and slow the movement down. Look at American history. It's been a pattern for 100 plus years. And all you bitch ass niggas trying to play devil's advocate behind a keyboard, keep your police ass on that side. Y'all niggas worse than the DA. I think he's probably talking about me. These brothers need love, support, and prayer right now, not jokes, criticism, or opinions. Well, we do a podcast about music, so we're going to give our opinion and criticize if we feel so suit. You can't come out and give 10 pages of tweets and Instagram, what do they call it? iOS press releases, and then say, but everybody shut the fuck up now. That's not how that works. You can't get to speak your piece and nobody else does.
Should lyrics be played in court?
I don't know. I honestly don't have an answer for that because I understand both sides of it.
Okay.
I
don't think they should.
I understand both sides of it. I understand why they shouldn't. But I understand why they end up being used. And I think, to your point, and maybe it means that it's a case-by-case basis, because to your point, I think that sometimes they don't really need the lyrics. It's kind of just an icing on the cake. But I think other times they use it to inch them to the edge that they need to get to, which...
I think that's what happens more times
the fact that they're moving the goalpost makes it questionable for me. And so maybe what needs to happen is if this is going to be a part of things, the same way, and I think I said this to you off the pod, that there's also a lot of not just song lyrics, but think about the way social media is used and has been used for the better part of a decade at this point.
Right.
They use social media to figure a lot of shit out.
Yeah, I know. That's what I try to tell all the money phone people. Right.
And so it's a gray area for me. I think that, again, I'm not on the side of law enforcement, and I think law enforcement is going to do what they're going to do to get done what they're trying to get done.
Yeah.
And knowing that, as Black people, like, we gotta be more vigilant, and we gotta advocate for ourselves. And if advocating for yourself means leave that out of your song, then I'm on the side of leave that out of your song so that you don't end up in this shit.
I don't know, because then what's the limit to free speech though?
I don't know, and that's the thing. But my thing is, it's not like they're coming out and saying really regular shit and getting in trouble for it. They're coming out and saying they killed people, and that's why for me it's complicated, because
a lot of people say they kill people in songs.
I'm not-
Eminem, the Great White Hope, has killed.
He's not my great white hope.
You know why I said that.
I know, but
He's killed plenty of people in songs. And wait a minute!
and he's talked about abusing his child's mother, like all of that.
That's one of the people he killed in a song.
Listen. I'm not nitpicking when I say this. I'm not saying, oh, Eminem should have done it, but Pooh Shiesty shouldn't have. I'm not saying that it was okay if Jay-Z said that, but if Young Thug says it, it's not okay. I'm saying you have to know that when you do this, these are grown people we're talking about, and you have to know that when you do this, there's a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So sure, you want to say whatever you want to say in your music in the name of free speech, say whatever you want to say, but let's not all get confused and get our panties in a bunch when they use it. Listen, they will use anything to put Black people behind bars.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So if they'll use anything, then never mind. I already said it, so it's just gonna be again.
I mean, you could.
It's fine. It's long enough. I don't think lyrics should be used in court. That's it.
Okay. And I just don't know. I'm of two minds about it. I don't. Yeah, to think that like the things we do in our day to day, our everyday, are constantly called into question. Constantly, we're constantly having to defend ourselves, even doing the smallest of things. It sucks, but at the same time, I don't know what the solution is, because again, when we're talking about this specific case, if we're saying that we know that when it comes to RICO, they've already run the gamut in terms of evidence. Bless you.
Thanks.
They already run the gamut in terms of evidence and the time of the investigation and whatever, and they already probably have piles and piles of things that they can hold against them. I don't even know if the song lyrics matter.
They do, because they're mentioned in the RICO.
Sure, they matter, but
if they're mentioned in the indictment, it means that at some point they're planning on using those lyrics for some type of evidence. What? We don't know.
We don't know.
Will it be a whole song? Will it be an album? Will it be one line? We don't know. But it means that if it's in the indictment, they plan on using it. It is evidence that they're going to use against the people in the case.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is, in a case like this, it sounds like they already have a hell of a lot more.
Or maybe they don't have shit.
Or maybe they don't.
Maybe they don't have shit, and they're trying to heavily rely on the lyrics. It remains to be seen.
Maybe they are. I don't know.
See, and that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Like that Melly kid that I read about from Florida, he was 19.
The only thing that I'm sure of is that I would rather us not tell on ourselves so that we don't have to be in this position. I would rather people not commit these types of crimes so that we don't have to have these conversations, so that we don't have to debate on whether this should matter or not. It's frustrating for me because, again, I hear what you're saying, and I see both sides to it, but I'm like, why would you did this shit 2 weeks ago and you were like, where's my pen? Let me write this down and turn it into a song. And
right,
what are we supposed to do with that? I don't know. I don't really know. But Stop Snitching by YG. Yeah, there's a lot of snitch songs listed in that search box.
But
I just
thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Listen. I hope that however it plays out the way it's supposed to. And it's not really for me to say how it's supposed to play out. But if Young Thug really did the things that they're saying he did, or was involved in the things that they're saying he was involved in, I think that maybe he should have probably paid more attention to his dick that he said always has dirt on it than doing things to other people. If you didn't see that video, if you didn't see that video on the internet, there's a video of Young Thug talking about how it's always dirty, no matter what he does. He gets in the shower and the washcloth has dirt on it. How gross! How disgusting! That's what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about murders. I want to talk about this.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
All right, we should move on. We spent a lot of time on this, and I think it's time to move on. So our next topic.
Kendrick or Mary?
Let's go with the albums that came out. Let's finish off with Mary since we're going dark to light. So
well,
2 albums came out. We talked about them. I know you don't care about the other one, but we talked about it.
Jack Harlow.
Yeah, we talked about Jack Harlow. Well, let's start with Jack Harlow and then get to Kendrick, because Jack Harlow will be quick.
You know, he was mentioned in this RICO case as well.
He was mentioned in this RICO
Someone
case.
asked the DA
somebody
why
from
wasn't
the press.
Right. They asked why wasn't Jack Harlow mentioned in the RICO, and she said, "Right now we're focusing on this group, but doesn't mean he's exempt."
I don't know much about that. I don't know much about his connection to them, but it seems like he does have a connection to Young Thug. From what I was, because I tried to Google it and then I got frustrated because I'm like, this is bad energy. And, you know, I was trying to be Sin Dion.
Sin Dion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See what you did there.
Even though my name is Dashing T. But anyway, Jack Harlow's album came out. You didn't listen to it.
Hell no, I didn't listen to it.
Well, I said I was going to listen to it because I thought the First Class song was cute.
That's what you said.
And this is going to be real quick. My review. I hated it.
First I'm gonna, then I'm gonna. That's the song, right?
And then once,
but that's the song,
yes.
right? Okay.
But then once I listen to the album, now when I hear First Class, I hear it very differently than I used to. Because before it was just like, oh, this is cute. This is just a little. But then I listened to the album, and then one day it was playing somewhere. And what really irritates me is he goes, first I'm gonna, then I'm gonna, and then he goes, uh-huh. And that just grinds my gears. Uh-huh. It's the way he says it. I hated the Jack Harlow album. I guess I should give more context.
That would be good. We do a podcast.
It sounded almost like he put on a costume.
A Drake costume?
I could see that. Someone's costume. Someone of a browner persuasion. It sounded like a light, like a fat-free version of...
Not a fat-free version.
Like a fat-free version of something. I don't like to use Drake because
that's the comparison everyone's giving. They're saying saying that he was aiming to... Not, I didn't say this. I did not listen to the album. I had no interest. But the word in the streets is that he sounds like, quote, Baby Drake.
I don't even like that because I feel like when I listen to Drake, I feel like I get Drake. Like
Yeah, but you know.
I've been listening to Drake for many years at this point. And so I feel like when I started listening to Drake, I just his music resonated with me. I feel like.
So you don't think Jack Harlow was trying to emulate Drake?
I don't know who he's trying to emulate. I just know.
I'm asking you specifically. Do you think he was trying to sound like Drake?
Honestly, I didn't listen to enough of the album. I didn't get to the final songs of the album because I was like, this is for somebody. It's just not for me. I felt that it was again a diet version of something, like it felt like he put on a costume and it was like he was doing a little cosplay or something. It didn't feel like he meant what he was saying and doing. It felt more like he was just like pretending to. It's kind of like when I, try to be cute and like sing songs that I know I can't sing or. And then there was that little thing about him not being able to identify Brandy on a song, and
you took that one personal.
I didn't take it personally. I was like, why did y'all think that he could? Did you hear the album? Did you hear it? Because again, sounds like some fat-free version of something
you can
that.
Oh man!
And more power to whoever liked it.
It was the no sugar Diet Coke.
It was like a 0 sugar Splenda stevia situation. Aspartame, lots of aspartame.
Oh no, not aspartame.
Yeah. That's my opinion of Jack Harlow's album. And scene. I don't have anything else to say about it.
Did you listen to Jack Harlow's album?
Let us know.
What do you think of Jack Harlow's album? I just want to know why black men were cut. Never mind.
No. Don't do that. Say what you were going to say. Come on, let's take this pod to the next level.
I want to know why black men were carrying him at the Kentucky Derby. That's what the fuck I want to know. Or F1.
I think I saw this.
What the fuck? Whatever it was they were at. I want to know why the fuck.
It was the Kentucky Derby.
I want to know why the fuck. Black men were carrying that white man. That's the fuck I want to know.
It's not funny. Not funny, but it is.
Fucking carrying this motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't understand that. He could have gotten some of his white friends, his white brethren, to carry him.
What the hell?
I don't know.
You seen that shit?
Yeah, I saw it.
I should put it on the screen.
No. We don't want it. We don't want to in any way amplify what happened at the Kentucky Derby.
Everybody else walking. Your shoes that expensive?
Because he couldn't walk in the mud. Yeah, I don't know. He had like. And
then another podcast. I'm not gonna say which podcast. Mm-hmm. They was like, oh, but if those are his employees, then who gives a fuck? He's paying his employee. Yo, fam.
It's a bad look. And we need to stop acting like appearances don't matter. And today they matter even more, especially when it comes to white people and white people that want to put themselves in black spaces. It matters.
I'm not carrying you.
It fucking matters.
You could pay me. I'm not carrying you.
Right. I would take off that day.
I'm taking off at that moment. As soon as this nigga... Fellas.
No.
Fellas. No, the mud. Fellas.
He's not no nigga of yours.
What fellas what?
Nigga, no.
Fellas what?
No.
Fellas what? You can't walk. What's wrong with your legs? Because my shoes, nigga.
Or like, who is his assistant? Bring him some boots, and he can take off the boots so he can walk by himself. He can take off the boots and put on his shoes when he gets to where he's going. And that you could have did.
You could have said, "Oh, you need a different pair of shoes."
Yeah.
Let me run to the car and get you a different.
Get you some boots for the mud.
Massa, I'll get you some shoes, Massa. I'll be right back with your shoes. But what the fuck we not gonna do is carry this white guy across the fucking mud. Are you kidding me?
His music's not even good. No, that's too far.
No, you can say what the fuck you want.
Okay, because that music is trash. Let me tell you.
Carrying this motherfucker. At the Kentucky Derby.
Which is probably one of the whitest places on earth. So it just wasn't appropriate for so many different reasons.
The NASCAR upgrade? That's where you carrying this motherfucker at? I can't even say carrying this nigga because he's not a nigga.
I just want you to know that. I want to make sure that we make that very clear.
Right, let's talk about a real nigga.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar's
The
album.
Kendrick album came out.
Kendrick Lamar dropped a double disc.
I listened to a few songs. I'm not done with it yet. I gotta be honest.
Okay, I thought you finished it.
That's not an opinion of the album. That's just I wasn't in the mood.
Because it's heavy.
Yeah. And sometimes
it's hard to be heavy the whole time.
Yeah, I can't that's not the type of music that I want to digest right now, and so unfortunately for Kendrick like Kendrick
I'm about to say I think he's chilling.
Or unfortunately for this podcast.
Right, that's who's suffering. It ain't Kendrick that's suffering, it's the pod. Because you couldn't endure for the pod, okay?
I tried a couple times and I was like, this is not where my...
It's heavy. Alright, for those who haven't heard Kendrick's album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, it's a heavy...
Here comes the hot stepper, murderer.
I'm not editing that.
Why not?
Nah, that's staying.
Please edit that.
Nah, staying.
Please edit that.
And so, Kendrick's album was released, and it is beautiful sonically. I mean, instruments, amazing sounds, but the topics...
Can y'all tell he's a Kendrick fan?
Actually, I'm not the biggest Kendrick fan.
I didn't say he was the biggest Kendrick fan. And y'all tell that he is a Kendrick fan.
I'm a hip-hop fan, and I think that you have to give props where they're due. And so we hear more and more digital, virtual, synthesized beats.
Mm-hmm.
We hear fake drums, fake guitars, fake pianos. And regardless of what you think of this album, you have to appreciate the quote-unquote instrumentation that went into it.
I was just about to ask. I was just about to say that that's what I've heard.
It is... I mean, there's a lot of it, and whether you like it or not, you have to give props where it's due. Mm-hmm. This is a hip hop album, unlike many hip hop albums. It is hard to compare apples to apples because these are not apples. If you want to compare it to J. Cole's album or Drake's album or any of his quote-unquote contemporaries, peers, etc., it will be very challenging because this does not sound like Metro Boomin. This does not sound like London on the Track. This don't sound like Beats by Dre. This sounds like some total next shit. This sounds like...
Because Metro Boomin was busy with the other thing.
This was a ton of instruments. It's a very jazzy feeling album. And it is
like jazzy.
Sonically, it's very, very interesting. It's very reminiscent of older times in music, perhaps not in rap, perhaps not in hip hop, but in music, in Black music. The content, the subjects, the song matter, subject matter is heavy. This I guess because he's critiquing culture largely, that's why the title was the title. But I honestly don't understand why the album was not titled Therapy, because this is what it was. Kendrick is going through therapy on each song. Most of the songs, it's not like Damn, where he's getting at half of the industry. It actually is probably more comparable to Pimp a Butterfly. Because of the style in the songs, as far as how the beats and lyrics come together. But this is less quote unquote preachy. I don't like that term, which is why I say quote unquote. But this is less quote unquote conscious. It is less about We the People and more about Kendrick's internal battles with many different things.
Okay.
He critiques society. He critiques hip hop culture. He critiques cancel culture. And he speaks a lot about different things that he has struggled with, substance abuse, adultery, struggling with accepting queer family members, issues with his mother, issues with his fiance. The list goes on. This is musical therapy. It is heavy. And so this is not going to be the album that is playing on every radio station. This is more the album that you would probably play cleaning your crib because the music, the sounds are so smooth. But it's really interesting the way that he put the pieces together. It seemed very intentional, and it seemed that he is trying to make several statements by releasing this project. The exclamation point, which many people know and we said last pod, is that this is his last album on TDE.
Yeah.
And so this is TDE saying goodbye to Kendrick as Kendrick goes on a new venture of his own, which I believe is called PG Lang. I think that's what it's called. And so this is a very interesting goodbye. Many people anticipated that this album would be similar to Damn, where he would come out and say, fuck this person, fuck that person, I'm saying this name. And as he said on the Baby Keem song, I'm smoking on top 5. Your best 5 rappers can't come anywhere near me. This is not that at all. Even this one song, he mentioned J. Cole and Future, and I was listening and I was like, oh shit, he about to... Oh no, he didn't. Okay, never mind. And so it's heavy, but it's being received pretty well. I don't know what the numbers are. I didn't check the numbers, but people are digging it. And whether they are or not, it is being spoken about. There's a lot of conversation pieces about it. And I know some of the things that he spoke about, people have taken issue with. I know other things people are disappointed by. But I think that's part of the decision that he made as an artist. I think he knew, speaking about accepting or not accepting, and that being a mistake of his, and not having issues accepting queer family members. I think him speaking about having issues with his mother. There's a song where him and his fiance, it's supposed to be his fiance, it's not his actual fiance, but there's a young lady who's like playing his fiance, so to speak. The two of them are like cursing each other out and degrading each other. I think all of these things are very almost neglected in hip-hop today. I think maybe when we were younger, like that song makes me think of a song called Domestic Violence by RZA, where he's not hitting the woman, but it's very similar. It starts out, they're both cursing each other out, talking bad about everything that they do with each other. It's very similar, and that song came out, I don't know, 20 something years ago probably. But I think he knew that all of these risque topics would cause people to react in some way. Almost like a Kanye who's like, you may not like the shit I'm about to do, but it's going to get a reaction. It's going to have a buzz. Am I saying he's, what's the term? Clout chasing? No. But I think he knew this is what I want to do. Huh?
I was saying he doesn't need to.
Kendrick doesn't need to clout chase. And Kanye doesn't either, but Kanye chooses to. But that's a conversation for another time, which we'll get to very shortly. Yeah. And so I think Kendrick made very specific decisions to close the TDE chapter, to leave a mark on hip-hop in a year where there are a lot of people who have not released music in a long time, in a time when he knows and sees that a lot of the big dogs, quote unquote, are starting to release more music. Cole dropped last year, Drake dropped last year, Future dropped the week before, or 2 weeks before Kendrick. I think this was to make a statement that would make several statements at once.
Okay. I hear you.
And it's very interesting, and I think that I applaud his bravado. I applaud him for being so transparent, so introspective. Um, he's extremely vulnerable on this album, and also pairing that with these type of sounds that almost don't sound like hip hop at this point.
Mhm.
It's a very bold thing to do, and I applaud that. As an artist, I admire it.
Okay.
That's my take.
Do you like the album?
I heard the album once. I have a thing. If you know me, you know that I do this. I don't like to give any reviews until I've heard an album from start to finish twice.
Mhm.
I think that in music, there are too many nuances and too many things that you miss on the first listen.
I agree.
Unless you're doing like right now, where you're sitting in a room completely locked into the music, which we really don't
Most of
do
us
in
don't listen to music that way.
2022. Like, I heard the Kendrick album while I was at the gym.
Yeah.
I was not 110% focused on the Kendrick album.
Mhm.
And so I don't want to critique someone's project, because I know how much, as an artist myself, I know how much time and energy and soul go into this process. And so I don't like to review music. Yes.
Finish.
I don't like to review anyone's project until I've heard it completely twice, because I listen for different things, and I want to be able to say, here's everything I heard, here's everything I listened for, and here's all my thoughts in full. I will say I didn't hear anything that I didn't like.
Okay.
On first listen, I didn't think that it was, I don't think it was groundbreaking for him. I
Mhm.
think that he has done things similar in the past.
Okay.
Just he's doing this in a different, bolder way, which I like.
Okay.
And that's why I compared it to Pimp a Butterfly. Because To Pimp a Butterfly, a lot of people said was more like spoken word than it was hip hop.
Mhm.
This is very similar when it comes to certain records.
Okay.
And so I can see him kind of going in that him going in that part of what him going into different parts of what he's capable of doing
Mhm.
to put this project together. I think at some points he pulled things that he did from To Pimp a Butterfly. I think some things he pulled from Damn. I think this was a way of showing many of the things he's capable of doing while doing something that he felt he wanted to do, the vulnerability,
Mhm.
the topics, etc.
Okay.
Because if Kendrick want to do a talk shit album, he can do it very quickly, very easily, very proficiently.
Sure. Mhm.
What's the song where he said he was king of New York with Big Sean? It's Big Sean's song, and he's featured. You know what I'm talking about? And everybody went nuts for like a whole
I know
summer.
what you're talking about, but I don't.
Anyway, whatever. That song, if you know the name of the song, put it in the comments. But he can do that anytime.
Mhm.
He can do all type of stuff like that. He did the same thing on the Damn album. I think this was very precise. I think this was very I think this was planned and calculated, and I think it was done intentionally. And so I like it on first listen, but I would like to listen a second time and really be able to soak it all in before I give any real critiques.
Was it Control?
Control.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate that review. That was very thorough and
Thanks.
thoughtful. I will definitely listen to it. It's not that I don't want to listen to it at all. It was just energy that I was.
Yeah, it's not a party album.
And
It's not.
What I was gonna say before, I was gonna ask a funny question. And
Oh, go ahead.
ask you, when you said that, you understand how much soul goes into making an album. Do you think any soul went into Jack Harlow's album?
I didn't hear it. I can't answer that. Sorry.
I had to,
I can't answer that. Sorry. I don't know. You'd have to answer that question yourself.
Anyway.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I think that.
Ooh. Go
What's up?
ahead.
I think that it's an interesting way to go out, as you said.
But he's not done.
He's not done, but I mean, to leave, if he's leaving his label, I think it's an interesting way to leave the label.
Yes.
And it definitely is a conversation piece, whether I listened or not. It seems like a lot of people have a lot of different things to say about it. I think that people are taking their time with it too because of the content and kind of trying to figure out how they feel about it.
Yeah.
It kind of is creating a lot of public discourse.
Mm-hmm. And I think that he did TDE a solid by doing that.
Yeah, I like. I'm always gonna love an album on a high level. I'm always gonna love that someone can create something that creates conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And whether we agree or not, we're talking about important things and things that matter to all of us as people.
Right.
That goes far beyond some music you listen to and it's just a good time or it's just music. Like, it's not really, like, maybe the lyrics don't matter as much and you're listening more for like the sound.
Right.
But I think it's always great when you can find something that provokes thought, creates public discourse, something that makes you think introspectively about your own life and your own situations, missteps that you've made, maybe triumphs that you've had. And
he's speaking about a lot of things that are happening now when he does speak about the things happening in society, which Nina Simone said. You know, an artist's job is to paint a picture of their time.
Yeah. And that's not the exact quote, but and we need that. We need the balance. We need the and then we need Kendrick. Right. Then we need Kendrick. Then we need
You gotta put one of these over there.
Well, we have the leopard over here. We need Kendrick for that. You know, we need artists like Kendrick for that. We need albums like this for that. So I'm excited to kind of dive in once I'm in a state of mind to do so. But yeah, that was way better than my review of Jack Harlow.
I mean, you know, it's hip hop. That's what I do. So
I mean, listen.
So speaking of soul,
yes, the BBMAs. Not to be confused with a Brazilian butt lift. The Billboard. The Billboard Music Awards happened last Sunday. We mentioned before that Mary J. Blige was going to receive the Icon Award. Mary, I was disappointed that... What? You don't even know what I'm gonna say. I was disappointed that there were no performances around this award. I just assumed that there was gonna be some sort of tribute performance or something like that. Maybe they would get other artists, or maybe she would perform. I was surprised that didn't happen, and I was really looking forward to that, like hearing some of her classics before she came up and gave her speech. I was really looking. I don't understand what this is about.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because you said that, and I'm like, if Mary tried to perform in that dress, it'd have been a show, all right.
It would have been like the one City Girl where we saw her whole panty in the.
I think if Mary performed, we'd have saw a lot more than that because that dress was crazy.
It was.
Mary was trying to set up the OnlyFans off that dress. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, let me tell you something. Mary J. Blige.
But could you imagine her trying to dance? She could barely walk up the stairs in that dress. Could you imagine her being like, real love?
I think anybody outside of Beyonce could do that. I think not anybody. I mean, if anybody could do that outside of Beyonce, because we know that Beyonce does that.
Mary, you seen Beyonce do it in that dress?
Not in that dress, but she moves around in pretty much anything. She's like a superhero when it comes to dancing on stage.
I don't know. That dress. I'm sure that had to be an OnlyFans live stream if she tried to perform in that shit.
Here's the problem with the dress. Since we're talking about the dress, I
I'm-
know that's
I'm
not
a-
what we don't do fashion
because,
here.
No, because you said you
but-
was think. All right, I thought Mary was gonna perform too. I was like, all right, I won't watch
I
it.
was
But when they
disappointed
posted
about that,
performance,
yeah.
I watched that, and then she didn't, and she showed up with the dress. And so you said, you know, you would have liked to see Mary perform, and so that's the way
She
my brain
probably
works.
wouldn't have performed in that dress because
Probably
she didn't
not.
even show up to the awards in that dress. That was her award acceptance dress.
That was her making a statement.
That was her making a statement. And here's the thing. Mary has an amazing body. And an incredible body, like the booty and the thighs and the everything. She has a beautiful body, right?
Yep.
And I don't have a problem with Mary showing any of her body.
Because she showed it all.
Because she can show somebody, and I am with it. I think that she should wear whatever she wants to wear.
She said, y'all want power?
That being said, and her legs looked great. Again, she has a beautiful body. So to me, you know, I'm always going to admire Mary's body, right? The dress was ugly, though. I just didn't like the dress. And it wasn't because the dress was revealing. I'm okay with the dress being revealing. It was just the colors and the sequins and the things that didn't do it for me.
Didn't even notice that.
I know. I bet you didn't.
I just was flabbergasted.
What was
I was
interesting,
like, oh, Janet Jackson looking like Janelle Monáe. Okay. I see you in the tux.
Okay.
Oh, she announced Mary. They got the little video playing.
Okay.
All right,
can
let
we
me
address
see. And then
that
she
too?
helped up Mary, and I'm like, oh.
Can we address that too? Because Janet Jackson was looking like
I was
Janelle
like,
Monáe looking like Janet Jackson.
I was like, oh, I know what they did. They switched. Janelle Monáe has on Janet Jackson's outfit.
But that's the
And then
thing.
Janet Jackson has on Mary's outfit.
But let's
But
let's point out because you brought it up, because I did look at Janet Jackson's outfit, and it was another moment where I was like, this feels very costumey. But Janet Jackson is known to wear things like that. But to me, something about it didn't look Janet. It looked more Janelle Monáe. But we have to recognize the fact that Janelle Monáe's style would come from Janet. It wouldn't be the other way around.
No, I know, but
you know,
the person we're used to seeing in that type of fit,
right,
as they say,
yeah,
at this point is Janelle Monáe.
It just looked a little too overdone for me. It looked a little bit too Mad Hatter for me.
I'm staying out of women's business.
As you should. As you should. Let me take the heat for saying she looked like the Mad Hatter. Something about it wasn't chic to me. It was just kind of costumey. But you know, here I am in a sweatshirt, so, and some hoops. I'm basic. So what do I know? You know, I got the black girl vacation braids going on and a sweatshirt and some hoops.
So speaking of soul, the Billboard Music Awards happened.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that happened that has caused a little bit of an uproar,
yeah,
is Doja Cat cleaned house.
Yeah.
Apparently, Doja Cat won a bunch of R&B awards,
mm-hmm,
and someone had some very specific things to say.
Who was that?
That would be Summer Walker.
Okay.
Apparently, Summer Walker basically said, come on, son. She said, Doja Cat won all the R&B awards. Really?
Let me ask you something.
So, apparently, if you look up Doja Cat, it says her genre is R&B/soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, I just put that out there for y'all. Live from the scene.
So, as far as I know, Doja Cat is considered more pop than, and the pop conversation is also a debate, but she's considered more of the pop genre than she is considered R&B genre. I don't know a whole lot of Doja Cat's music, if I'm being honest.
Remember the Silhouette Challenge? Where everybody was naked in front of the red filter?
Yeah.
That's her song.
Okay, I don't remember the song, but I remember the silhouette challenge. But what I was gonna ask you is, before I get to that, I just want to know, how do we feel about artists? She's not the first younger artist to do this.
To do what?
Summer Walker, to get upset and speak publicly about how they feel that the award shouldn't have gone to someone else. It should have gone to them.
I mean,
Or-
artists
or-
have
or
done
that-
that since award shows have existed.
Right, but I think that there's a lot of this new class, especially the R&B girls. Ari Lennox has come out before.
Ari Lennox about to fuck you up. She hates when people mention her. Go ahead. You're right, but Ari don't like when niggas mention her.
In order for me to say what I'm saying,
I got you.
Ari Lennox was the first person who popped up in my head. She's not
From the Soul Train Awards?
Soul Train Awards. She had an issue with the category she was in, not winning the category she was in. Of course, artists want to win when they're nominated for awards. They want to be the winner.
Yep.
But I feel like the new kids are way more vocal than artists have ever been before about not winning a category. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Is Kanye a new kid?
Oh, well, Kanye's Kanye, though. Is that... Kanye's gonna complain about everything. I'm not necessarily giving Kanye a pass. I just think that when we speak about Kanye, like, whether like it or not, Kanye ends up getting put in a class of his own because, as you would say, Kanye's a genius. And so, we handle Kanye with different gloves.
You want me to respond now? Because you're making an R&B point out. I could,
Yeah.
let you finish the R&B point.
Well,
Doja Cat.
I'm just saying, like, is it... I understand the frustration.
Okay.
To not win when you think that you really deserve to win.
Right.
That's gotta feel a way.
Right.
But coming out and saying Doja Cat shouldn't have won, or coming out and saying another artist shouldn't have won, rather than saying, I wish I had won that category and I think I deserve to win it, which those are two very different statements to make. Is that productive?
All right. So
Because we could
The
have
only
a conversation
person-
about empowering other women.
I'm not gonna have that conversation because I got to stay out of women's business.
I
But
agree, but I'm just saying you could end up down a rabbit hole from.
it's
this.
hard to stay quiet right now. All right.
But then say what you have to say.
I got to stay out of women's business, so I can't. Then
I respect that.
I'm not gonna be like some of my peers who like to talk about women and their business on any and every social media platform or every time they get in front of a mic. I'm not doing that. So as a feminist, I would feel fucked up doing that. So I'm not.
Okay.
So let me give some examples. Michael Jackson was a pop artist.
Mhm.
He was the king of pop.
Mhm.
But he also did R&B.
Yeah.
And so some people viewed Michael Jackson as an R&B artist.
Mhm.
If you were up against Michael Jackson for an award, you probably were not winning.
Yes.
You could have had the best R&B album that year.
Yes.
But if it's your album versus his, and they're
Never gonna
saying
happen.
you're not winning.
No.
Okay, so that's one example. Another example, more recent, is Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber is a pop artist who dabbles in R&B. I'm not saying anything else. I'm just giving the example we are discussing. Justin Bieber is a pop artist, but he does things to put himself in the R&B category.
And begs to be in the R&B category, which...
But this is why, because if Justin Bieber is going up against anyone who is a male R&B artist, because they separate the sexes, which is a whole nother conversation I won't have.
Mhm.
But if you have male R&B, if you have anyone other than another person like him, like a Bruno Mars is the only person I can think of at the moment, who's an active pop star who also does R&B, then unless it's another huge star like that, you're not gonna win. It's gonna be Justin Bieber who wins.
Right.
And so that is what is happening. And then the next thing is the budgets, the backing, the label support, the massaging of the relationships with other people in other award shows and other conglomerates is very different when you're a huge pop star, because you are in the top tier of prioritization for that label.
Right.
And so if you're signed to Universal or Sony or Warner Brothers / Atlantic, whatever, if you're signed to one of the 3 or 5 top labels and you're one of their 3 or 5 top acts, your budget and your backing and all the things I just said are very different than someone who's not part of that category. And so, yes, it's possible, keyword is possible, that you could have a much better album, a much better song, a much better video, whatever the category is, than the other person. But you don't have the same things going on in the background. And so, unfortunately, as fucked up as it is, you are not going to win those awards.
Right.
That's just the bottom line. It's like saying you're the mom and pop store versus McDonald's. You're not going to beat McDonald's.
Right.
You can have the best chicken sandwich around.
Yeah.
And everyone can know. But you're not going to beat McDonald's because you can't even compete.
And that's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, especially because McDonald's is not even known for chicken sandwiches, which is why I gave that example.
Right.
And so that's what happened. Go ahead.
I'm not, and me asking the question is not to say that Summer Walker didn't deserve it. It's not to say that Doja Cat was placed in the correct category. I think even though I haven't listened to a whole lot of Doja Cat, I've heard people have this conversation about Doja Cat over and over again, where they don't know what category to put her in because she's very eccentric. Her music is kind of a mishmash of different things, which I think is great as an artist. She brings a lot of different things to the table.
Yes.
I guess the frustration, so I can understand the frustration on one end, but what if Doja Cat says, well, I did this song or I did this album in the name of R&B. I didn't do it to fall in the pop genre or whatever the case may be. And I get it. I get that she has a big machine behind her. I get that she's one of the ones that is currently rising to the top. I totally understand that.
Right.
I just think that at this point, I think we know that the game is rigged. I think artists know that the game is rigged. I think that a lot of weight gets put on these award shows.
Right.
And it's unfortunate because I don't think that it's always an accurate measure of an artist's worth. It can't be because of the fact that the game is rigged. And so I feel bad for Summer. But it's almost like, what can you do? And I guess better question is, what did you expect to happen? Did you really think that Doja Cat wasn't going to win that category? Because if we're saying that the deck gets stacked for one person or another, putting all your eggs in that basket, more stress than anything else.
Okay, so now let's look at the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Say you're an R&B act,
Mm-hmm.
and you make a phenomenal album,
Mm-hmm.
and your fans love it, and your fan base has grown because of this amazing project.
Mm-hmm.
And you're anticipating great things. Your tour is sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Your merch is sold out. Everything is going great. And now you're like, man, if I can get this award that's coming, not only will it be the cherry on top,
Right.
but it literally puts me in another tax bracket. Because in music, when you have and it's stupid if you ask me, but this is the way it works. When you have an award attached to your name, you are now entering a new level.
Of course.
Even Nas said, and I said this on another pod we did, he said, I won a Grammy, price just doubled.
It's like adding a master's degree to your resume.
Price is growing up.
The price goes up, yeah.
Fat Joe, yesterday's price.
Not today's price.
Not today's price.
Right.
And so you have poured your heart and soul into this project. It was well received. Everything is going well. And you're saying, okay, this is how I get to the next level. And then the awards are announced. The nominees are announced. And you here with this motherfucker.
Right, and I think that's at the point where you where you should be outraged because that's the point where you know, shit.
But then maybe you just got a smidgen of hope,
a little bit of hope, and I understand that, and I don't want to
like the Lotto commercial,
heartless.
Little bit of luck. You hoping you got just a little bit of luck.
A little bit of luck. I don't want to sound like I'm not supportive of these artists that feel like they, and rightfully so, feel like they are being marginalized and they're not getting their just due. Everybody wants to win the award. Everybody wants to be number one. I can totally understand.
It also has to do with what it does for your career.
Right.
Because
and
if it was just a paperweight, nobody would give a fuck.
Right.
But when you walk in and say, hey, I manage Dashing D, who just won a Grammy is now being recruited to be on the new Netflix show. Oh man, word, that's what's up with Dashing D. And now, now I was charging $100,000 a venue before. Price just doubled, $200,000, $250,000,
No,
$300,000.
I get it. I just don't.
And then here comes Michael Jackson moonwalking all over your shit.
I can't move.
Here comes Justin
I was
Bieber.
moonwalking with my hands a little bit.
Justin Bieber, yummying all over your shit. Don't sing it. What's the one you like? Peaches Down in Georgia?
I was not going to sing
Ain't that the one you like? Peaches Down in Georgia?
I do think that song is cute.
See? You did your best work, and then here come Bruno Mars. Leave the door open. You're gonna fuck up our whole shit. If the pod ends right now, it's because she left the door open.
So I think it's unfortunate.
It's a really fucked up position to be in. And honestly,
I'm not telling them they should shut
I think
up,
the best way to do it is, as far as who goes in what genre, and it's really tricky. So this is just my opinion. It should be what you do most. If Michael Jackson mostly does pop,
then he should be in the pop
then
category.
he should stay in pop. If Justin Bieber mostly does pop, then he should be pop. If The Weeknd mostly does EDM, or I don't even know what The Weeknd does at this point. But if whatever you do mostly, then that's the category you should be in. But the thing is, right now, a lot of things are cross-genre, and the style, it may have hip-hop drums, even though it's an EDM beat. Or like the Kendrick example we just gave, that shit could be in mad categories.
Right, yeah, I mean, I feel bad for them. I don't want to make it seem like I'm heartless and I don't get it. I do understand it. It's just I don't know how to help them.
Oh no, me neither. I'm just trying to report the facts, or tell it like it is, because I don't listen to Doja Cat, and I mean, I've heard Summer Walker stuff, but I'm not waving the either person's flag. I don't have a horse in this race. Yeah, that's the term. I don't have a horse in this race, so I'm just trying to paint a clear picture for our listeners, our viewers, and help maybe them understand what is going on and why these things are being said. But if you've listened to our pods, then you know the same thing happened a couple months ago with, what's the Bruno Mars group? Him and Anderson .Paak, what they called?
Silk Sonic.
It's
they
the same shit.
They ended up tying with Jasmine Sullivan.
Silk Sonic won every fucking award. No, but it not just that. They won every fucking award.
They did.
Because of the same things I'm saying.
But what specifically made me feel away?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I felt like she should have been able to win that category on her own and didn't need to stand there with them.
Of course. But that's what I'm saying. The same way they swept, this time Doja Cat swept.
Yeah.
That's the game. It's unfortunate. It's fucked up. It's rigged.
Yeah.
But that's the game. And that's why, if you really see what like the artists who truly understand it have said time and time again, fuck these award shows.
Well, you know who didn't say that?
Diddy.
Well, we'll get to him. Kanye.
Oh, well, actually, he did say fuck the Grammys.
He said fuck the Grammys, but he swept the Christian category
Genius
at the BBMAs.
Genius.
I
Genius.
cannot. I
Genius.
feel like my relationship with Kanye is such a roller coaster. Like I never know if we're on the good foot or not.
Yeah, I
don't know.
That's the relationship.
Yeah,
It's married at first sight.
It's dysfunctional. It's so dysfunctional, the relationship that all of us have with Kanye, but particularly me. I'm just like,
No, but a lot of people feel that way.
I don't know how I feel about this,
right.
but I mean, good for him.
Listen.
That's how I feel.
That motherfucker said, listen, y'all want to play? I know what I'm going to do.
I'm going to make some gospel music.
Listen, I'm going to tell y'all what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, and y'all can criticize it all you want. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kanye knows sometimes when you're a big fish in a small pond, it is hard to be ignored.
Yeah.
And I'm not dissing anyone in Christian music. But the only person I know in Christian music who could probably compete is Kirk Franklin. And I don't think Kirk Franklin put out an album.
Or Mary.
They drop music still?
I don't know.
I'm not dissing. I'm asking.
I don't know.
The last time I remember hearing Mary was when we were like teenagers.
I don't know a lot.
Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance.
Actually,
I just want to praise him. That's the last shit I know from Mary.
The last thing I know from Mary is that Erica was going at it on her own, and she was actually doing really well.
Okay, was she nominated?
Yeah, she's been nominated for awards and everything. Not this year. I'm just saying, if there was anybody, we're talking about anybody who can compete because of the fact that they're so big,
sure,
it would be. I would think that would be the other.
And this is the genius of Kanye, and this is why I keep saying. So Kanye knows the fan base he has, the weight his name carries. I said, okay, I'm gonna slide right into this little category right here. I'm gonna drop 2 albums, and guess what? Guess who's the #1 Christian winner?
It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre.
What he said on the Pusha T album? Became a reverend in my prime.
All right. I don't even know what to say. Listen, I'm not.
You could call him whatever you want.
I'm not calling him anything.
No, not you. I'm saying people, the internet. But that man, he knows what his star power can do.
Yeah, he does.
And so listen, y'all can hate me all you want, but all that shit I just said about the price going up.
Yesterday's price is not.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Shout out to Fat Joe for that one. We're not stealing your line.
Nah, everybody used it. Push used it on Diet Coke.
We did. Diet Coke. Diet Jack Harlow. Anyway.
No, Diet Drake.
Diet Drake, whatever. So
maybe Diet Coke should be the name of this episode.
Oh, we could do that.
No.
All right. So here's the thing.
About Kanye?
All of those things happened. Yeah, are we done with Kanye? I'm ready to move to. We gotta wrap this up because this is a 2-hour pod. So, the final thing about the BBMAs, the last thing we have.
The BBLs? No, I'm just kidding.
Right. The last thing we have to talk about is the host.
The host with the most.
Was he?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I saw enough of it to be able to assess the host.
Okay. So Diddy hosted.
Love hosted. Doesn't he go by Love?
No. What?
Doesn't he go by Love? And hasn't he gone by Love for like 2 years? He got his license changed and everything. You know, Diddy likes to change his name every several years.
You remember that video? They not went. Remember the video when he's golfing on the roof? And then, what's his name, brings back the ball? And he's like, oh, P. Diddy. Papa Diddy Pop.
Yes,
Puff Papa.
Yes, I remember that. I do remember
What's
that.
the actor's name?
I
I'm
don't
so
remember.
bad at actors' names.
I don't remember.
He's from
who
Meet
it
the
was.
Fockers. Ben Stiller?
Ben Stiller.
Come on, man. I know
Yes.
a couple. Ben Stiller knocks on the door. Diddy answers in his golf crazy. Oh, hey. He's like, oh, this is yours? Oh, hey, Puff Daddy. Papa Diddy Pop.
Yes, I remember
Yo,
that.
Papa Diddy Pop is the
I
best
love that.
one.
It's cute. It's cute. It's
Called
cute.
him Pete Papa. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so
That guy, Sean
he
Combs.
Sean Combs opened the show in a very Diddy fashion. He was dancing around. It was dark. He was wearing baggy leather and whatever. It was very
Shiny
circa 97, 98, which I
I was
love.
about to say that.
That's
was,
my
just call him Shiny
my favorite
Superman.
music year so far in life has been 1997. So I don't have a problem with anybody hearkening back to that time
Why not?
ever. But so that to me was like, oh, okay, he's gonna have a little fun with this. And then everything went downhill from there for me. I didn't watch the whole awards show, but what I did see was a whole lot of product placement. He had his butler or whoever coming out, bringing out bottles of Ciroc,
So?
bringing out Sean John lotion.
So, Sean John, what?
Sean John lotion. So he could wipe his hands. He was like, I can't be ashy. So could you please bring me some lotion? And then he was like, Sean John lotion.
You got another shimmery thing in here somewhere?
Get out of my clothes. So that was annoying to me. I understand why he did it, but
If you want the host.
I didn't, and that was the thing too, but he was also executive producer as far as I know.
Yeah, that's all part of the negotiations.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying you don't normally see that sort of thing happen on these award shows, and so the fact that he was executive producer, I think, had a lot to do with it. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Oh, well, yeah. If you want me, then, I want what I want.
I didn't like that, and I thought it was
So if you have products,
underwhelming
now I'm going to turn to you. Sorry,
at
camera.
best.
If you have products and they ask you to host a fashion show,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to show none of your products off at the fashion show?
Yeah, but not in that way.
Explain to the people what you mean.
What I mean is, I'm not gonna have my butler or whatever he was, his assistant. I think he said butler. Bring out bottles of Ciroc and like pour me Ciroc while I'm standing there hosting. It was weird.
So
It was weird. I can
It's not that
understand.
it
I think that there's a way to. Can we point out the fact that I work in advertising?
I mean, that's on you. I don't put you, I stay out of women's business.
I work in advertising.
Okay.
There are a lot of different ways to advertise. This is one of them. I didn't like it. I would have preferred something like, it's his brand, right? Ciroc. I would have had. Now, I didn't watch the whole show, so maybe this happened and I just missed it. I would have had them bring out Ciroc to everybody in the audience instead of him coming with the thing and pour. It was weird. That was weird. It was the come bring me lotion, my hands are ashy. Was weird. He's not a comedian, so it wasn't funny. It didn't do anything for me, which is why I didn't bother to watch the whole show, because it didn't move me.
So was it?
It was gratuitous. And sure, a lot of things in entertainment are, and it's fine. If people liked it, then they liked it. I just personally didn't care for it.
I didn't watch it, so I have no opinion. I'm just trying to figure out, is it that it came off more as a flex, or it came off obnoxious, or there was too much of it? I
think it came off obnoxious. I just didn't like it. I didn't care for it in that setting.
Okay.
I think that there are times to do that. I think that there are moments where that's funny and that's interesting. And I just didn't find it, any of those things, for this. I think that they could have even, and they probably did. Again, I didn't watch enough of it to, maybe I shouldn't even be speaking on it. But even if they threw Ciroc commercials in the show, like in between segments and things, like as one does, there were a lot of ways to promote his brands without having his butler come on stage and bring the products out.
Got it.
That it was whack to me. It was whack.
I'm with you. I didn't see it, so I
But-
can only listen.
I don't think, but again, I don't think there's a problem with mentioning your brands. I'm not saying that. Listen, advertising pays my bills. Okay. So I think that there are a lot of different ways that you can do certain things. It wasn't, sometimes you do things like that and it's like, oh, this is funny. Ha ha ha. Like he's trying to show his brand, blah, blah, blah. Also, he's Diddy. Who doesn't know Sean John? Who doesn't know Ciroc? Which is why it didn't have to be like that. Because those brands are synonymous with his name.
Mm-hmm.
People know those brands very well.
I mean, I never heard of Sean John lotion though, so maybe that was the rollout.
Maybe it was. I would have even done something like, oh, just in case your hands are ashy, there's Sean John lotion under your seat. Or something like that, you know?
Oprah style.
Yeah.
You get a lotion. And
you
get a lotion. And you get a lotion.
Right. It was just
everybody gets a lotion.
It was just the butler coming on stage and like bringing these products out.
The butler thing really fucked with you, huh? You mentioned it like 5 times.
It annoyed me. I was like, what is this?
You should put a number on the screen every time you mention it.
And my thing is he's Diddy. Like,
I don't know.
You don't have to do that. And I think, truly, I think that he thought that it was going to be funny for people and people were going to be amused by it. It wasn't amusing to me.
Mm.
So, and it's fine. I mean, I actually liked the idea of him as a host. I think if he didn't do those things, I like that. I like that he's an OG in music and he was hosting the awards. I love that he was a Black man hosting the awards. Like, there were so many positives about the fact that he was hosting it for me. Like I said, 97 is my favorite music year, and you cannot say 1997 without saying Puff at the time, Puff Daddy
or Bad Boy,
Yeah. And so I don't have a problem at all. I want to be clear. I loved the idea that he was going to host the Billboard Awards. I think we need more of that. We need to diversify things, and I love that they've been doing that with the award shows lately. But I was like, Diddy, come on. What is this? But then again, on the other hand, I guess you could look at it as, did we expect something different from him? I don't know, but that's it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So don't be putting your butler... Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much for spending 2 hours with us.
And if you're sick and tired of your butler being all on the award shows, come over to Death Row. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. So we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Hopefully.
Is the pot over? This is it.
But it's 94 today, so
this is our last episode.
If it gets any hotter, I don't know if I can make it here. Like, I almost melted today.
I mean, there's an air conditioner. There was spa water here.
Yo, why it went from 70 to 94 though?
I don't know.
Let's have a real conversation. Global warming. Oh, last but not least, before we go, more TikTok and Instagram content coming. So if you're not following us,
follow us now.
You should follow. And once again, it's LHRCPOD. LHRCPOD. That's it.
Bye.